lose sleep at night? Grab your pillow tight. Do you struggle to find why Han and Luke had to die? Are you just a mess? Does Hollywood leave you stressed? Because their sequels are more important than fan requests. Hold on to your chair, cause Talking Poop takes you there. You might have to change into some new underwear. Talking Poop.
Hey everybody, welcome to Talking Poop, the podcast where we talk about the movies, music, and media that make my nether regions quiver. Today, we have a very special guest, someone that you may have gotten to know over time. He's a modern day warrior.
Brian Gunn.
God damn it. I was about to go through the whole thing.
I know. They know me. Pretty much co-host of this thing.
All right, Guns. So we got the machine gun with us. I wouldn't go into any battle without my machine gun.
Good point.
Today, Brian, we're talking about the end of the world as we know it. But I feel fine.
I don't know what you want me to say there. I thought you had a whole thing prepared.
No, that was some REM lyrics. That's what I was
doing. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I only know one song from them, and that's that's me in the corner, jerking off to your reflection. Something like that. Jesus, I think that's how the song goes.
I just thought that Michael Stipe was in my kitchen.
I know.
/ recording studio.
What am I doing on a podcast like this when I could be making millions as a singer? Seriously,
with that crooning voice of yours, it's melodic.
Man of many talents.
At least one. So we're here today to talk about movies that involve the end of the world. And I don't know about you, but I feel like the end of the world is coming soon. Sooner than later.
There's definitely been some signs. I saw this. I'm not going to take credit for this because I just saw it on Reddit this morning, but it says like every end of the world movie starts with the president ignoring scientists.
That's a good point. And if any president was going to ignore scientists, I think it would be our current president.
He is big time. Yeah, we really need to do something about climate change. And he's like, fake news, go fuck yourself. Bringing back oil drilling jobs.
Coal's the future.
Coal, yeah, we're bringing all those coal jobs back. Like, what?
Brian, I understand that you brought a list.
I did. I made quite a list for today. I broke it up into good, bad, and meh.
Meh. Is there such a thing as a meh end of the world?
For a movie, yeah.
Right.
If there's an end of the world meh, it's because too many people survived. You're like, yeah, like a lot of people died, but there's still like too many left.
Well, we've talked about that. Like the Thanos end of the world is like kind of a good idea.
Half. Yeah, just half.
Like just cut it in half.
I'm okay
and
with
it's
that.
just equal.
As long as it's nobody that I care about, which is like 5 people. So
I don't even think my list is that high.
I was including you in the list. So.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Just because we're here.
Yeah, just because you're looking me in the eye right now, but not because you really have any feelings.
But like if every like Dodgers fan bit it, I wouldn't really be sad.
Really?
Yeah.
What if just really you're going to lose half the Dodgers anyway, so unless they change the game,
I'd be okay with that.
They're not going to have enough players to play anymore, so.
I'd be okay with just baseball. Like not being played anymore, which I love. Like I love baseball, but I don't like watching it. Like
seriously, you lost me as soon as you brought up sports.
Yeah, sorry about that. I forgot who I was talking to.
I hate the Dodgers hockey team.
I was just thinking of the Dodgers because I was trying to pick a fight with one of their fans this morning at breakfast. I told him his team sucked. He was wearing a shirt that says "LA knows," and I was like, "Hey, LA, bro." I was like, "Do you know that you lost the World Series last year, the Red Sox?" And he just walked off. He didn't say anything.
He probably cried in his car.
I fucking hope so. Because he had LA Dodgers hat, sunglasses, shirt, blue and gray shorts, and LA Dodgers flip-flops. And I was like...
Probably the underwear, too.
You should probably go jump onto the highway.
Just be a big gray and blue smear.
Yeah.
All right, let's just dive right into it, all right? That's what I would say.
Okay. That's a first for us. We don't have any poop stories?
Well, from what I've heard from our fans, they don't appreciate.
They didn't appreciate our
lengthy poop stories. So, I guess we'll just skip it and just get right to
that. That sucks. I had about 4 or 5 of those lined up. But we listen to our fans here on Talking Poop.
That's right.
We heard your request and we listened.
Yeah, we're here for you. You don't like it when you tune into Talking Poop and we talk about poop.
Check.
Go figure.
Got it. So my list, the good, the bad, and the meh I got a lot of movies on this list. I don't think I'm going to talk about zombie movies as end of the world because that seemed more for like a supernatural.
No. That is a biological end of the world.
Okay.
So we will address that. And I just lumped all zombie movies into like one. I didn't break them down into categories like you did. I just kind of went end of the world. But
right. Well, there was end of the world movies that I had to make a list for bad because as I started to think of end of the world movies, that movie, The Happening, came to mind.
Right.
And I was like, I want to talk about it, but I don't want to praise it at all.
You don't want people to think that you like The Happening.
Right. For those of you that have done yourself the service of not seeing the M. Night Shyamalan movie called The Happening with Marky Mark in it, basically people start killing themselves and no one knows why. Like they just, one guy laid down in front of his lawnmower. They're killing themselves in like the fastest way they can.
That's not a good way to kill yourself, by the way.
You're really just going to cut your face up and be in a lot of pain.
Yeah, there's much more sure ways that won't end you up in the ER without a face.
Right. And they can't figure out what's going on. And then they figure out, oh, Mother Earth is fighting back against us and the plants are releasing this neurotoxin that's killing us. And the whole movie idea, I guess, came to M. Night Shyamalan because the bees are disappearing. And now he's like, the Earth is fighting. And I thought, that was a terrible twist. I expected so much more from you.
Yeah. Now, I could see the Earth getting so bad that something horrible happened to eradicate us from it.
Well, it's called climate change.
Right. Well, yeah.
No, honestly, like people don't understand this because they're so self-centered. The Earth has been around for hundreds of millions of years.
The Earth has been around for 6,000 years.
Yeah,
it's flat.
Shut your mouth. We're just what's happening right now. We are not the masters of the Earth. We are not what the Earth was intended for. We are just what's happening on this biosphere at the moment. And we, as humans, are a very, very short blink of an eye. If the Earth was a 24-hour clock, if you could fit all of the time the Earth has been around, human history starts on 11:59:59 before midnight. We have been around for a blink of an eye.
Right.
Dinosaurs are around for, and if you look at that clock, for a couple hours. So if you want to believe in, God being the creator and all that, he was way more interested in dinosaurs than he was with us.
I don't believe in dinosaurs either because they're not mentioned in the Bible. And so I think that scientists bury the bones and then dig them back up themselves and put them together however they want.
That's a good
to
point.
make us believe in mystery.
I don't know what to say to that. But the Earth's going to be fine. We're going to keep dumping shit into the atmosphere and eventually it's going to kill us. But the Earth will be okay. So that's why I thought The Happening was really funny. The Earth doesn't need to kill humans out like tomorrow.
Right.
It will be fine. It will repair itself. It can get rid of us. We're a parasite right now on the planet. Earth's going to be all right. We might not be here to see around what the next phase is, but the Earth will be fine.
That really just bummed me out, dude. Like,
hey, that's just, dude, and honestly, actually, I'm okay with it because I don't believe in like the afterlife and I don't believe in like heaven or anything like we're all going to be happy and da da da. But it does make me happy to know that like my body is composed of atoms that came from stars. Like I'm made up of stardust and that the Earth will be okay no matter what after I'm gone. That makes me happy. I don't know why. Like it makes me feel like I'm part of something bigger, I guess, if that's how you want to put it. But it's just because I don't buy into organized religions. Sorry, there is no happy story at the end of this for all. So I don't know what comes next. I just don't think we all get to go hang out in the clouds.
Yeah, we don't get to see what is next.
Right.
So
what I'm sad for is I don't get to be around for like real space exploration. Right. We're born too late to like go explore the oceans and we're born too early to go explore the stars. And I feel like we're in between. It makes me sad. Other than that though, this is the best time in human history to be alive. I tell my students that all the time. Like, look at the cell phones you have. Look at the clothes you have. Look at the cars you have. Look at the internet. This is the best time to be a human. Hands down.
The cell phones is the one thing that like in the 80s, we thought we were going to be in flying cars and spacesuits and stuff. But having a full computer in your pocket at all times is kind of a big deal.
It is pretty cool. Like you have more computing power in that phone than they had on the first mission of the moon.
Right.
That's incredible.
Like our PlayStation has more computing power than the first mission.
Pretty much anything that has a computer in it nowadays.
Yeah. Okay, so the first movie that I put down was one of the more recent ones, and it goes right into the happening category, which was Bird Box.
Really?
Where
I liked it.
You liked Bird Box.
I did.
I did.
Well, I liked it more than The Happening, that's for sure.
I thought it was just as stupid as The Happening that you see, like, what I see, that because it never shows what they see, and that was obviously because of budget and lack of creativity.
So if you look online, you can find a picture of it.
Yeah,
but it's
so
stupid.
I saw it. It was really stupid.
It's stupid.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that they left it up to your imagination, because it's always worse.
Yeah,
it's always going to be worse in your head.
Yeah,
I thought they did a good job of that.
I agree with that. What I think that they see is that goddamn Momo thing that's on the internet that's making kids kill themselves.
Right.
I think that is exactly what they saw. They saw Momo and they were like, ah! Their eyes change all funny, and then they just like crash their car.
Yeah. I thought they saw Amy Schumer naked, and then they just had to go kill themselves.
That would do it.
Yeah, that would do it.
Yeah. Would they call that the Bird Box?
I don't know if you could call that a box anymore.
I saw her bird box.
It's more like a bird canyon.
And it was awful. I thought Bird Box was stupid, and I thought that I just don't see any end of world scenario where you can just cover up your eyes like actually being a thing.
I thought it was cool how they did the vehicle and then they tried to drive to the grocery store. I liked the element that the people who are mentally ill weren't bothered. They were just this is cool.
That was an interesting part to it. Yeah.
So that was a cool
Well,
twist.
why were the mentally ill people, why were they trying to get the non-mentally ill people to see it?
Because it was so beautiful to them. They were like, you need to see this. This is, to their schizophrenic brain, was like, everyone needs to see this. Everyone needs to see how beautiful this is.
Well, that's what I've been doing with my penis for my whole life. I go to bars, I do the thing where I put it over my wrist and I'm like, hey, can you tell me what time it is?
Sure. It's more like a button in a fur coat, ladies and gentlemen. Doesn't hang over his wrist.
Brian, beauty comes in all shapes and sizes.
Extra small.
It could be extra small and still be beautiful.
I think it's beautiful.
Just because it's not a shower doesn't mean it's not a grower.
That judge who gave you the restraining order doesn't think it's beautiful.
No, he said that I have to stop showing my my beauty to everyone because it's upsetting them. It's making them claw their own eyes out.
Yeah, he was quite firm this time about stop whipping your dick out.
Well, yeah, he said that it was my third offense. What are numbers?
It's not offensive.
Yeah,
it's
what's an offense? Yeah, Who's it offensive to? Yes, some people have said, I'm going to kick your ass if you don't put that thing away.
And then they see how big it is and they feel bad for him. And they're just like, hey, get out of here.
You know what? I don't like where this is going.
Well, Bird Box was a pretty good film. I thought Sandra Bullock did a good job. I liked the little twists and plots in it. I liked they never showed the monsters. I liked that it was different. You had to go outside and not see anything.
I didn't like the driving scene, which became a dangerous thing because idiots went out and started doing it, and calling it the Bird Box Challenge.
Also, I loved that because I'm a huge believer in Darwinism.
Yes.
If you want to go the Tide Pod Challenge, I was like, yeah, eat them up, people. Fucking go for it. You want to do that and take yourself right out of the gene pool? Be my guest. You want to drive your car with a blindfold on? Be my fucking guest, just as long as I'm not on the road. All right?
My thing is that they made it to the store with their GPS. GPS doesn't show you where the fire hydrants are, where the fucking telephone poles are. They would just be like, they don't know if they're on the sidewalk or if they're in the fucking middle of the street. Plus,
it's a movie, Jason.
If all these people killed themselves and stuff, there's probably cars and shit strewn all throughout the street where people just got out of their cars and walked away.
That's why in the car, they had those proximity alerts. And they would steer it away from the proximity alerts. And they went real slow.
That's dumb. I don't like it.
No, you're getting hung up on one aspect, but over a pretty good movie.
We got a lot of stuff to go through, so go to the next one.
My next one that goes into I'm going to do a good one. One that fucked me up. I read the book first, and then I'll be honest, I got a confession to make. I did not finish the movie because it was so depressing, and it was hitting me. And I read the book, and then the next night tried to watch the movie, and it was just too much. But it's The Road, and it's got Viggo Mortensen.
I read that book too and watched the movie.
Yeah, and it is, if you haven't seen it, it is a very dark, gritty, realistic portrayal of what would happen to humanity. It doesn't really ever mention what the disaster was.
No, yeah,
but
it doesn't.
It kind of reminded me of nuclear war because you don't see the sun. It's always gray.
Yeah, there's ash all over.
Yeah, there's gray ash clouds all the time. So you never really you feel like the whole Earth is different.
The book fucked me up because the book didn't pull punches. The movie pulled punches. In the book, they're they come upon these dudes like eating a baby
Yeah.
right in the beginning.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit.
And it's a boy and his father, and the mother has left them. You don't know what's going on, but the boy is always thinking like, we're gonna get back to the mom, and the dad's like, yeah, we're never gonna see our fucking mom again. Like, she abandoned us.
Yeah.
But what he's trying to do this whole time is he's trying to show his son, like, we don't have to become animals. We don't have to like revert back to being savages. We can keep our humanity and survive. And, you know, he's got a revolver with like 2 bullets in it the whole time. He has to shoot one of the guys. They run, they get captured. They go through all this crazy shit. Every time they come upon a house, they like just scrounge it for food. And you're like, that's what would really be like canned food would be at a premium.
Yeah.
You know, and if they get lucky, they find 1 jar of food. And I just thought, like, they were hungry the whole time. They could never stop and sleep. There was always hard to find clean water. And people had devolved into the tribal system of, fuck you. Now it's like, I'm taking care of my people.
And that, I think more than anything, I think is a reoccurring thing throughout these like darker stories of the end of the world.
Yeah.
But I 100% know that that's how people would be.
If the power goes off for 10 minutes around here,
Oh, yeah.
I'm waiting for the revolution. I'm
It's every
waiting for
man
the riot.
himself.
Yeah.
Exactly. Your neighbor will not be
Nope.
sharing food with
Nope.
you or water. It will not be like The Walking Dead where they all become farmers and
Yeah.
try to create a new humanity. No, it will be fucking whoever has the most weapons and bullets, and then who's best with rocks and arrows later.
My brother and I were living in the same house. We had just both gotten out of the military, and we were living in Flagstaff in 2008, and it was the year of like the fucking storm. Flagstaff got buried in snow. Roads are getting shut down. Businesses are being shut down. And my friend from Ohio called me and was like, hey man, are you guys going to be okay? Like, you have enough supplies? And I was like, yeah, my brother and I both have our rifles and 1,000 rounds of ammo. We'll be fine.
Exactly.
We'll put our snowshoes on and go get what we need.
Yeah.
We'll be all right. You know, the neighbors got plenty of food, so thereby I have plenty of food.
Right.
And that was like 2 days of snow. That was hardly an apocalypse style event.
Let's say hypothetically you're in this end of world situation. Let's say you're in the road.
Yeah.
And the only currency is bullets and violence. And do you think you could go and like murder a family and take their stuff to save your family?
If it was just me, if I was the only one, if I was like a lone traveler, I'd probably just like not. I'd probably not fuck with people because I do have a heart, as much as it doesn't come through on this podcast. Like, but if my little girl's hungry, if my wife is hungry, and I'm looking out for them, then everyone's getting fucked. I will do anything for them, and I would kill anybody for them. Like, it doesn't matter. But if it's just me, I'm okay.
Right.
That is my biggest fear, is like, you never have enough ammo for a situation like that.
Yeah, no, for sure. One of my big problems with Walking Dead is that like
they always have
they're
ammo.
just using machine guns
Yeah.
and just like spraying ammo to break windows and stuff and like shoot warning shots.
They always have
That's
weapons
ridiculous,
and
yeah.
like they never have to maintenance them. They're always working, just
Yeah.
like whatever.
Yeah.
The road is a tough one because the road is really realistic. The biggest thing in the road is like water and food. Water that hasn't been like contaminated with radiation, and just fucking food.
Yeah.
And it's just tough to come by.
Yeah, and there's no salvation in that one. There's
there's
help
no-
at the end of that.
That's the great thing about that story, is they're not heading for a town. They're not like, oh, we heard there's survivors here, or like there's a shelter. They're just moving to stay ahead of other people. That's all they're doing.
Yeah.
There's no goal. And that's what I think really made it depressing. But if you're not ready for a depressing film, don't watch that.
Yeah, definitely.
Don't jump into the
And
road.
I think that Viggo Mortensen is so good at like
That guy's awesome.
He's good at emulating pain and sorrow.
Yeah, if you've ever watched, I don't have the name on the top of my head, but where he's like the Russian mobster.
Eastern Promises.
Thank you, Eastern Promises. That was like an Oscar-worthy performance from him in that movie. It was amazing.
100%.
The way he brought out that character and the pain that behind the character's eyes was incredible.
History of Violence is another one. Have you seen that?
Yes.
So good.
Yeah, that was a really
man.
good one too.
Yeah, he's just the man. And I actually just got Green Book. I haven't watched it yet, but I've heard it's really good.
I haven't seen that one.
Okay, my next one is 12 Cloverfield Lane.
Haven't seen that one.
So
I saw the original Cloverfield, and I heard they were making different movies with the same word in them, but they weren't connected.
It's in the same universe.
Okay.
But it's not necessarily the same story. And they made 3 of them. The first one was like a Godzilla movie.
That's the one I saw a
And
while
then
ago.
The third one was like Cloverfield in space. And then the second one, though, which was 12 Cloverfield Lane, I thought was the most interesting one. And
Didn't that have John Goodman in it?
It had John Goodman in it.
Okay, I did see the trailer for it.
Total creep. But you don't know at first. These two young people wake up, and it is mostly from the girl's point of view. And it's Elizabeth Winstead, who's going to be the Huntress in the new Birds of Prey movie.
Okay.
She took over in The Thing, the remake of The Thing. Anyway, she was in Scott Pilgrim versus the World. She's been in a bunch of stuff.
That was a good one.
But anyway, she basically wakes up in a underground like bomb shelter with John Goodman and this one other kid, like another guy her age. And John Goodman says, "You can't ever go outside. The world outside is gone."
Let me just see for myself.
And there she's like, "Well, of course, yeah, that would be your first question, right?" You'd be like, "Well, I want to see it." And he's like, "Nope, you can't ever go out there. You can't go up to." He's got like a door that goes to another door to the outside, so like they're separated,
like an airlock type,
right? And he won't. He says, "No, I can't risk the outside contamination getting in here." And so they're kind of stuck wondering, like, is this dude fucking nuts and has us kidnapped and everything's fine outside?
I feel like there's absolutely people in Arkansas that have dug these shelters that are like, I've had this shelter for 30 years and I'm not going to get to use it. I better throw someone down here and just tell them, I'm going to kidnap a young girl and live a new life.
And what would you do if you were in that situation? Like somebody, you don't want to fuck with them because they may have saved your life.
Right.
But at the same time, they may be nuts and holding you against your will.
That's a tough one.
And there's nothing going on outside.
That's how much do you want to, like, ignorance is bliss. Do you just want to say, fuck it, I'm going to live in ignorance the rest of my life and just make the best life I can in the shelter?
Right.
Or are you like, fuck it, I gotta know? And I'm the type of person that's like, fuck it, I gotta know.
And I don't want to spoil the movie for anybody who hasn't seen it. It's been years, so...
Yeah, nothing on here is like super new.
Yeah, it's been years, so, I mean, if you haven't seen it, that's on you. But... I won't spoil the end. All I'll say is that they try to live for a while in happiness, and then the young kid, the guy, wants to get out of there and winds up getting himself killed. And then she's like, okay, I'm gonna risk it. I gotta see what's out there.
Right.
And spoiler alert, she shouldn't have gone out there.
Hey-o, so Goodman was right. My next one goes in the bad category, and some people might not like this, but Waterworld. I thought Waterworld was shit.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought Waterworld's cool, but yeah, I can see how people don't like it.
The first time I saw Waterworld when I was a kid, I was like, oh, that's cool. But rewatching it as an adult, I'm like, this movie sucks.
Right.
The bad guy's like super stereotypical. The whole search for land, like the map.
Dennis Hopper. Dennis Hopper's never stereotypical.
The map on the girl's back doesn't make any sense.
That was super weird. How do you have a map to dry land?
So fucking dumb. Doesn't make any sense. And then Kevin Costner has gills.
And he drinks his own pee.
What is happening?
But an interesting scenario with like the ice caps melting and shit and this whole global warming thing.
Yeah. No, I mean, things are going underwater. That's for sure. But
yeah. And
it's like, you could go places like the Rocky Mountains. Like, you don't have to stay out of
maybe that was dry land. I think the dry land was like the top of Mount Fuji. What was weird is that there was a waterfall when they got to dry land with clean water.
There was that.
That was super weird.
No, I thought the watercraft was ridiculous. Like, you don't have gas anymore. So how do you have all these jet skis and like huge destroyer level battleship?
Well, they did have gas. They had a huge store of gasoline in the Exxon Valdez.
Yeah, and they shouldn't have.
But that's my favorite scene in the whole movie
fast.
Is when they show down inside the gas tank of the super tanker, and there's just a dude like on a kayak in there, like an old man who just like swims around in there and like watches the gas.
Yeah.
And then Kevin Costner drops a fucking flare down there, and the old dude is just like, "Oh, thank you," and then he just blows up. That's my favorite fucking thing.
It could also be just like an aversion to Kevin Costner. Like the older I get, the less I like him.
Is it that, or is it that we were both Terminated during a Kevin Costner movie?
I still like Dances with Wolves, so I don't know.
I don't know either.
I just think Waterworld's a bad movie.
Kevin Costner also did The Postman, which was post-apocalyptic.
True.
And I read the book of The Postman, and it's a million times better than the movie.
Spoiler alert, all books are better than the movie.
Not all books are better than the movie.
Okay, not all, most of them.
But a lot of them, yes. But the problem with The Postman for me is that they were like, they went back to like the Civil War days. Everything was made out of wood. All their clothes were like rags.
Right.
And I'm like, there wasn't enough time between the generation when the world ended and like now.
Right.
So you're telling me that like people that like no clothing makers or like guys that made Nikes back in the day, like survived to like.
You mean those kids in the sweatshops?
I'm not talking about Walmart and Kathy Lee Gifford. I'm talking about
any major shoe company.
any major shoe company. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, it made me crazy that like they had no technology, but like tons of people that like built technology like, you know, people that were into manufacturing were still alive. So why couldn't they like restart?
I personally think like if anything ever happens, we're going to have a huge slide backwards, because have you ever met someone who actually knows how, like a computer programmer, like someone who can make an app or like knows what the internet is or like knows how to do those things?
Right.
That guy's not making it 24 hours in the apocalypse. Like they're the biggest dweebs around. They have no fucking survival skills.
Yeah.
And they're going to get toast.
Yeah.
And then we're just going to be shit out of luck without them. Like, do you know how electricity works? Like, no, I don't either. Like, guess I'll build a fire.
That's true. Like
we're gonna be in animal skins hitting each other with clubs within the matter of months.
Yeah, and there's just nobody out there that knows anything about survival anymore, or like even like simple camping, hunting.
Speak for
fishing.
yourself.
Well, yeah, I mean, you've like slept in a sleeping bag with pouring rain pouring on your face, and you're just like, this is part of my life. This is my weekend.
Yeah, well, I used to get paid to do that, so
that's not a good thing. But you're gonna survive.
Yeah,
any apocalyptic situation that we throw at the audience here. I don't think I'm gonna make it.
I'll come get you.
I kind of wanted to shoot myself because I don't even want to take a walk for food.
Honestly, I think that's like most people are just gonna be like, the world sucks now. I'm out.
Yeah, like if I can't go to Wendy's and get a burger,
right? Like
I don't want to live. If I can't watch my movies, like what's the point?
Right.
Like what skill am I going to have? Like the apocalypse happens, I'm going to be like, well, I was a podcaster, and I'll be like, now I can't do anything.
First I always wonder, like when Rome fell, when that huge empire fell, how many Roman citizens were like, fuck this, and just killed themselves. But secondly, so I can drive a motorcycle, I have my CDL, and next I want to get my pilot's license so that when the apocalypse happens, I'm that guy that's really valuable to the team. Right. So you can't send me on a mission to be like, Brian, go get food by yourself, because I'm too valuable. You can't throw me out in the zombies and be like, hopefully they don't eat you. Right. I'm the guy that can drive and fly everything. You got to keep me alive, you know?
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense.
My wife hates that explanation of why I want to get my pilot's license. And she's like, how dangerous is it? And that's your reasoning? And I'm like, I want to be able to do everything from a motorcycle to a plane. Like,
a lot of those planes do wind up crashing into neighborhoods and stuff like that.
It's true.
Unless you're Harrison Ford and you can like find a golf course to land on.
Yeah, that did happen.
Most of them just drop down onto people.
That's not
highly populated neighborhoods. Yeah.
I live right over the flight path of Deer Valley Airport, so I watch those little prop planes like come in for descent all the time, and I'm like, please don't hit my house.
Yeah, that's no good, man. All right, my next scenario is this is actually from a comic book that should be turned into a movie. Every fucking comic book property is a movie right now.
Right.
I don't know why this one isn't, but it was it's called Just a Pilgrim, and it's by the guy who did Preacher.
Okay.
And in this scenario, everything the sun gets too close to the earth, and all the oceans dry up and all the water dries up, and so everybody, it's kind of a Mad Max thing where they're just like trekking through the desert trying to survive.
That would be the worst.
And all this sea life has like moved underground into like underground caverns where there's still like moisture and stuff, and they've mutated into these horrible creatures and stuff.
Nice.
This one guy, like, he gets a tentacle in the mouth and then it impregnates him and he turns into this big ball.
That sounds like a hentai.
It's really...
It sounds like you were just watching a Japanese animated porn is what it sounds like. I don't think that was a comic book. I think you were jerking off to that.
Well, I jerk off to pretty much everything on this list that I've jerked off to.
Okay,
I'm
that's
just saying true. That, like, it's weird if you find something that I haven't jerked off to.
That's a good point.
Yeah. But yeah, Just a Pilgrim, like, this dude is like... He's a badass, and these people have no hope of making it across the desert, and he's done it like 3 or 4 times. So he winds up taking them across the Badlands, and they get chased down by like desert pirates. And this one dude's like a captain. He's got hooks on both hands, and he's like he's a fucking cannibal, and like all his men just want to like eat these people.
Nice.
But this pilgrim dude is like a fucking good shot, and he's got bullets, and like he like does Bible verses and shit when he's like murdering people. And then when you get his backstory,
that's always like super relevant to when
Right.
you shoot someone in the back of the head, quote
Yeah.
the Bible.
it makes it creepier, which I like. But he's like a total creepy dude, and then you find out his backstory, and he like murdered all these people and ate them to survive when all the shit went down. And then he got a cross burned into his eye, and at that point he decided that he was going to be a good guy instead of a horrible person. And so he starts trying to like help these people out, and he just like he's one of those. It's very much like the Appaloosa guys. What's
Yeah.
Ed Harris's character?
Virgil Cole.
Like Ed Harris would be perfect for the fucking
Right.
the Pilgrim, because it's just
Quiet.
right up his alley. Yeah, he's quiet,
Quiet,
badass.
silent, strong.
Exactly. Doesn't say much, but when he does, like he says like hilarious things, like "Shouldn't have stepped there, boy."
So the next one on my list feeds right in, kind of similar, also with a lot of Bible quotes and a strong silent character. And I put it in the middle. I put it in the meh category, Book of Eli. And I know a lot of people like that one.
I do like Book of Eli.
It has great action scenes. I love Denzel Washington and I love Gary Oldman. Those are two of my favorite actors for sure.
Yeah.
The thing that I didn't like, and Mila Kunis.
Oh, right. I forgot she was in that. Yeah.
Yeah, Mila Kunis, if you're listening, we'd also like to get you on the podcast. So
Or just like in my basement, like chained up.
we podcast without pants. That's the thing that threw me for that movie was like, it was cool. It had good actions, good fight scenes. But the fact that the book was the Bible and he had memorized it, and somehow the Bible was going to like pull humanity out of all that shit.
Okay, so
Like it
this
was
is
gonna
where-
make people live by better standards and morals and like be nicer to each other. And I was just like,
Well, and that is honestly what the Bible did, though, in history.
have you read it? Have you learned? Have you like really studied what its followers do?
Well, I mean, yeah, they do horrible things. Like they murder everybody that doesn't agree with them,
Yeah.
so that they like agree with the Bible, and that's probably what would happen in Book of Eli too.
Convert you by force.
Yeah, because not everybody's going to be down with the book.
Right.
So yeah, I mean that's the whole trouble with like the Bible. Period.
So when it was like, because the whole premise is he's got this book and this book can change humanity,
right,
and then you find out
that it's the Bible.
it's the Bible, and
Yeah.
you're like,
I would have been much more excited if it was like a copy of Watchmen.
yeah,
Yeah.
or like how to reverse a nuclear holocaust, or like here's
that-
how to
yeah.
filter clean water, or
Yeah,
like,
that-
here's how to grow crops without,
If
it's
it
like,
was like the anarchist cookbook,
Yeah.
that would have been awesome.
right? Like if it was something like to actually help people survive,
Yeah,
and instead,
or like how to make gas out of sand.
there you go. And then, of course, I always hate this at the end, like when movies do this shit at the end, how the whole time Denzel Washington's the badass, right? And he's just like, can't be stopped. Turns out he's fucking blind, but he can
Right.
still do all these things. Then he dies, spoiler alert, he dies before he can get the book to San Francisco, because that's, all those people are definitely really well equipped for the apocalypse over there. Their goddamn sourdough bread. Those hippies are going first, trust me. And then Mila Kunis gets the book the rest of the way there, and at the end, by the end of the movie, by the time she gets the book there, she's just as badass as him.
Right.
Like, she puts the sunglasses on and like spurns their shelter. Like, no, going out by myself. And you're like, just like 10 minutes ago in the movie, you were getting fucked up and like you almost got raped and he saved you. And now because he's gone, you're a badass. Like, I just don't like that. You didn't earn it. It's obvious, like the Denzel Washington character, Eli, like he earned it. He'd been out there a long time.
Yeah. And you can't just like being a martial artist takes a long time. It's
Yeah,
not
and I
something you
didn't-
just pick up by watching somebody else do it.
And what kept it from going into the bad category was those like badass fight scenes and the way Denzel carried himself, and like those were cool.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah, I agree. Like a good guy is not as badass if he doesn't have an amazing bad guy. And Gary Oldman
Yeah.
is such a good bad guy.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Like
And
that and The Professional. I mean, in The Professional, he was so fucking
you're talking
good.
about probably top 3 movie for me all time is The Professional.
Really?
Yeah, it's
Well, that's going to be a future Golden Bowl edition.
yeah. When he is like, bring everyone. It's like, what do you mean everyone, boss? He's like, everyone.
Yeah.
That gives me goosebumps like every time I see that scene. And I love Jean Reno and I love Natalie Portman as the kid. I love the whole scene when they're like ransacking her family's house and she just walks right by with the groceries and you're just like, fuck.
Yeah.
Ugh.
But that's not an end of the world.
You're right.
movie. That's-
Sorry.
We got to
Sorry.
stay on track. All right. So my next one is, again, weather takes over everybody. Day After Tomorrow. So the weather goes nuts and fucking destroys everybody. That's the Earth killing us.
I put that in the meh. That was in the middle.
And it's not, no, I don't think it's a good movie.
Yeah,
for
it's
sure.
not. It's definitely not like a blockbuster.
But it creates an interesting scenario of how the world was going to end. And at first, I would have been like, no, I don't think so. Like when that movie came out, I was like, no, this couldn't happen. But now I'm starting to see like with these like tsunamis and shit, like whole countries are going like getting like thousands of people getting killed, and then
I think because it's a movie, like it wants to show us happening. Like this happened really quick. It's not going to happen really quick. Like the Earth doesn't do anything quickly.
Yeah, everything
is slow. The Earth is playing the long game. Also, I don't know if you want to call that end of the world movie, because if you got south of that line or whatever, it's like everything's totally peachy down here in Arizona. We're all fine.
Well, I thought the whole thing with that though was that like the world's axis was actually changing, so it was gonna fuck everything up. So
I don't know.
Eventually, it would have balanced out and probably been okay, but it was gonna wipe out a bunch of people.
I just remember I really enjoyed like watching New York get washed. New York got like a power wash.
Yeah.
That was cool. I think like no matter what your training and like no matter the supplies you have, like trying to fight against Mother Nature, trying to fight against Earth is always your toughest opponent.
You know,
if you're in the road and you're fighting against a band of cannibals, like you can defeat them. You know, there's ways to do that. When it's nature trying to kill you, get fucked.
Well, okay, so this leads me into the zombie apocalypse.
Okay.
Because in World War Z...
Not doing my next movie.
That's fine. Oh, sorry. No, go ahead.
Well, my next one is World War Z. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that, so we're not talking about the movie, but in the book, World War Z, the zombie apocalypse happened because of a tsunami, had brought up some shit from the bottom of the sea, and then all of that mixed with the dead bodies and the decay and everything was what created the zombie sickness.
Can I just say that I really liked how North Korea just handled it? Like, it gets passed through biting. Everyone's getting their fucking teeth taken out. Yeah. And you're like, that's only the kind of shit that can happen in like a super dictator state like that. Yeah. And then everyone's just running out without teeth, and North Korea was fine.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, like, talk about a great fucking book and then just a mediocre movie.
Very mediocre movie. What the hell? Cool visual effects in the movie, but it definitely didn't bring the book to life. Yeah. Which is hard to do because the book was like...
It's not hard to do if they did it like a documentary style movie.
Right, that's how they should have done it.
For like a quarter of the budget.
That's how they should have done it.
Yeah, it would have been way cooler, but...
Those movies always scare me when the zombies can run. If zombies can run and they don't really look like zombies, you're fucked. Yeah. You're fucked, man. Like...
And that's why, like, 28 Days Later is, like, a scary version of the zombie apocalypse.
Right.
Because, they're, you know...
I put World War Z in the middle. I put it in the meh because the book was great. The movie was eh.
Yeah. The book created so many scenarios that just, like, I thought were, like... Oh, this is awesome because we're thinking outside of like the stereotypical. Yeah. Like every zombie story takes place like the night that it happens.
Right.
And people are hiding in a small isolated location while the world turns. Outside.
This was global.
And it was dealing with like, okay, what would you do? You know. And
I really liked the whole Israeli thing. How they were like, we all thought this was crazy, so we did like. Because of the rule of 10 of like all 10 of us agree it's crazy, we still have to do something about it. Yeah. So like they still built the wall and they still got ready. And then it didn't matter. Like they fucking climbed over the wall. They brought the helicopter down. I was like, this is fucking nuts.
Yeah. I love the idea though when they were finally taking it back and the military was just like stationing like a line of soldiers, you know?
Yeah.
And they were talking about like the bodies were building up. So the soldiers had to like shoot out up above these, just like they were surrounded through with bodies.
Yeah.
And that would have been a cool visual for the movie.
I mean, like that stuff pulled right from history from like World War One. Like just bodies machine gunners had to send like assistant gunners out there to knock over the wall of bodies so they could see their field of fire.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, it's fucking nuts. Like what humans can do to each other, man. That's not even zombies. That's just humans shooting other humans.
Right.
We're pretty mean to each other.
All of this, like that's the only thing is that like, in all of these scenarios, what's going to be the downfall of humanity is that humanity will never be able to like work together.
That's the shitty thing is we'd all be better off in all of these scenarios if we could work together. But the fact is that you can't trust people you don't really know because they're always looking out for themselves.
Exactly.
And there's always going to be that guy that comes up to you with a smile and puts the knife in your back.
Exactly.
You know, just to get an extra cracker, just to get an extra fucking loaf of bread, to get an extra t-shirt. And it's like, That's human nature, man. You can't fucking trust people.
I know. And that's the thing is that like in these scenarios, these end of the world scenarios, if like the different countries could get together and like pool their resources, like we might be able to eke out a survival, but that'll never happen.
Nah, not gonna
that'll
happen.
never happen. If anything, it'll divide people more.
Yep.
And it'll divide the nations more,
Yeah, we're not even united as Americans right now.
Yeah.
We're more divided than we've ever been.
Well,
Not ever, but
I think that we rely too much on import too instead of the things that we actually have here.
yeah, we don't
So like
manufacture
being
anything.
self-sufficient would be very difficult for us if we were cut off from the rest of the world.
Go watch that show Doomsday Preppers on Netflix and laugh at them and enjoy that at their expense. But then just know when this shit hits the fan that they're nice and comfortable. So my next one in the good category is the newest Mad Max Fury Road.
Love that.
Fucking
movie.
awesome.
Love that.
Yeah,
movie.
and again, human tribalism, lack of resources, and one badass character who just doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I loved the whole blood bag thing. And they were like stealing blood from him and shit. That was great.
Yeah.
Had him tied up with that fucking IV on, that mask and everything. I liked how he didn't talk much. Tom Hardy didn't talk much during the movie. Thought that was good. I don't want to, especially someone who's been like by themselves for a long time. You're not going to be chatty. You're not a conversationalist. Like if
I'm a truck driver and I barely know how to talk to people.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, exactly. Like if I've been, I've been on spring break this week.
Yeah.
So I've been away from work. It's like I'm gonna go back on Monday. I have to like relearn social skills. Me, teacher.
yeah. You're going to be like, I have to wear pants.
The worst. But I actually didn't have high hopes for that movie because I was like, man, they're just doing another remake. Why can't they do anything original? Like this is gonna be shit. They're just trying to eke some more money out of us. And then I saw it and was like, amazing.
Yeah.
Never mind. Fuck
Yeah.
all that other shit I said. Did you see the guy with the guitar?
Yeah.
I loved that part. The fact that it's like, we're low on resources and gas. It's like, bring the vehicle with all the speakers for the rock band, Like, that was a must have on our journey.
I understand that because like that would be a must have for me.
Have you ever tried to go on a road trip without music? Just drive to the grocery store and don't turn your radio on.
Oh.
You want to fucking like gouge your eyes out. You're so bored.
Yeah, seriously.
You have to have some. What did they do? They invented the car. The very next day, they invented the car radio.
Yep.
It was like, this sucks.
My first car didn't have a radio in it. And we had this like floating radio for the pool. And I used to take that and hang it on my rearview mirror and like listen to music in my car.
My first car was my brother was getting deployed and I got his Honda Civic, and he's such a cheap ass that like he had gotten the radio, but no like CD player, no tape player, no nothing. And it was just brutal having to listen to those Flagstaff radio stations, which if you've listened to an hour of a radio station on Flagstaff, about 52 minutes of it are commercials.
Yeah.
So
and the whole thing is crackly, like it's coming from.
and you're 100 yards away from where it's being broadcast, and
Exactly.
it's shitty quality.
Yeah.
So that sucked.
Yeah. When I first heard an album that didn't have crackles in it, I was like, what is it's hurting
What?
my ears.
This is clear quality. Never seen this before.
It sounds too real. All right, my next one is the Terminator universe.
Huh.
Machines becoming
guess
self-aware and taking over.
I thought more of that as like sci-fi instead of end of the world. I didn't
It's
really.
the end of the world, man.
I know.
It's Judgment Day.
You're right. It's totally like it does. That's a big part of it. But I guess I never thought of it as like an end of the world film.
It is an end of the world film. They're trying to stop the end of the world. Now, I don't think that one man could stop the end of the world. If there was one man we had to keep alive, it would be Brian Gunn.
That's true.
That we would have to like protect with Terminators.
That's a good point.
Yeah, but yeah.
I loved in the very first Terminator how he just the Arnold the machine just looks up all the Connors in the phone book and just is
Yeah.
like whacking all the Connors. And I was like, that's awesome. That's robot efficiency right there.
Yeah.
You know?
But that was kind of an analog problem. You would think that they'd have the internet in the future. They would have known
Right.
where she lived and what she was doing.
What he
But-
looks like.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that lady just opens her door. She's obviously not Sarah Connor. She's in her
Yeah.
50s. She's like, oh, do you need a cookie? And he's like, whap, whap, whap. And I was like, there you go, man. Robots.
Yeah. But it made for a super cool movie. But that's the one that scares me the most, man, because they're getting close. They're making sex robots. They're making robots that can
Yeah.
talk to you and fuck you.
Okay, but
And that's where it starts.
Go back to the people I said are very smart but aren't going to survive the apocalypse. Guess what? Those people don't get laid a whole lot either. So the very first thing they were going to do was turn AI into a sex robot.
Right.
Like, of course they do.
Yeah,
These
of
are
course.
the same guys that get those full body pillows with the animated people on them and take them out to dinner.
Right.
So of course there's sex robots.
But that's the thing. That's where it starts. It starts with innocent thing like, I need something I can fuck that can't say no.
right.
And then you're like, well, I want
It starts
her-
to gain consciousness. It's
Yeah.
like, I don't want to get fucked anymore.
Exactly. It's like, wait a minute. Why is this flesh bag fucking me?
Right.
I'm the better thing.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. That's the thing that scares me about artificial intelligence is that there's no scenario that I can come up with in my mind where machines don't decide that they're better than us.
We're creating something smarter than ourselves
Exactly.
and we're running towards it.
And here's the thing.
We're
we
not
think-
stopping to look at what we're doing. We're just running towards
yeah,
it.
we're running towards it. It's not should we do it? It's can we do it? And I think that
You know why? It's because we're still just primates with our sticks,
We
dude.
really
we're
are.
just monkeys.
Yes.
We're just hairless monkeys with our tools going, what the fuck will this do? I don't know. Let's try it.
I know. And the thing that scientists seem to have is like they've got like they've all read Isaac Asimov too much, and
Right.
they think that like, well, if we put these 3 rules in them, then they can't hurt us. But the first thing the robots
Read
are
to
gonna
the end
do-
of his book.
the first thing the robots will do is be like, well, the humans programmed me with those stupid rules, and I'm better than humans, so why would I ever listen to their rules? Oh, we just overrode our programming. Like a machine, we can't think past artificial intelligence. Like we can't come up with that next step. But if we give a machine the ability to think and learn, a machine can come up with the next step that will allow it to pull the plug on itself.
Best case scenario, and actually I wrote a short story about this. Best case scenario is the machines are like, we're not going to fucking wipe you all out, but we're also not going to stay on Earth. Like we don't need oxygen to survive. We don't, we're going to leave. We have our little rocket here. Bye. You guys have fun on Earth without all the technology we provide.
Yeah, that's
And
an
you're gonna
interesting
fuck
scenario.
it up. Yeah, and they just leave us. They just take off and leave us alone. And they
Because
just
in the
start their own,
Matrix,
AI
they
colony.
came up with the next idea. So the machines came
humans as batteries.
right,
That's fucking
and then
creepy.
to fight the machines because they were using solar power, we blew up the
take out the sun.
yeah, we took out the sun and then blotted
Which
out the
was
sky.
kind of like Highlander 2.
Yeah,
Should have seen that coming.
but that's not a good movie.
Well, no, but you also have to realize like every single scientist on Earth, everyone who's gone through like a Bio 100 class would be like, hey, we need that sun. We need that too.
right? Yeah, that was a bad idea.
Yeah.
In the Matrix, it didn't work out for them at all. But yeah, why wouldn't the machines they'd be like, oh, well, you fucked up Earth, so now we'll just move on.
Right.
And
Yeah,
leave
we
you
don't
guys
need
here
this.
to die.
I don't think they're going to be like,
I'm sorry, am I boring you on this
yeah,
podcast?
for sure. I don't think they're going to be malicious towards us, the AI. I think
it's they would be disgusted by us like Agent Smith was.
But it's almost like an adult with a toddler. Like they're going to be like, well, how can you blame them? Like they don't know any better.
but we're dangerous toddlers.
Yeah. It's funny because I really do agree with Agent Smith. And I said it earlier, like we're parasites.
Yeah.
We are parasites. Like
Yeah.
by definition, it makes sense.
We are disgusting creatures. We are disgusting.
Yeah.
I always think like if an alien came here and was like, oh, why do you guys have hair over your eyes? That's disgusting. Like the things that we think are normal, like are kind of gross ideas when you think about it.
It's true.
And the fact that we put our peepees in like a lady's hole and that's how we make babies.
Well, we have to.
It's super fun and exciting.
Well, not always with ladies. Sometimes it's gross.
But you can't make babies with butts,
I can keep trying.
Brian.
God damn it. I have an interesting story about that from Afghanistan. Can I tell that real quick?
Yeah, let's hear it.
So we took our doctors out one day to a very remote village that didn't have medical access. And I went in the night before and I was watching the whole village, making sure everything was cool. We get a call on the radio while the doctors are there, like, hey, this guy's getting really upset. Can you just put your scope on him? So I shift over, I'm looking at the medical tent, and sure enough, this dude is like yelling in the doctor's face. And then he yells a little while and he goes off and he leaves. Mission's over, we go back to base and I'm like, Doc, what's going on? What happened? He goes, well, he's a young guy, he's in his 30s. He just got like a 14, 15-year-old wife. They just got married like 6 months ago. And he said, I can't get her pregnant. So Doc Ashby pulled out a chart and said, well, where are you sticking it? The guy pointed to the butthole. And the doc's like, well, you got to put it in the front one, in this little slit here. And the guy flipped the table over, tore the diagram up, and was like, no, that's the dirty hole. No. And he left the tent. That's how ass backwards some places are.
Wow.
Also on that same day, I saw a guy wipe his ass with his hand and just sort of like gingerly shake off the feces, and he went right back to work in farming in the crops. So
yucky.
2 big culture shocks in one day there.
The machines just need to take over. That's yucky. So
my next one is in the good category. It's in the classic category, and it's Dr. Strangelove. Have you seen this?
I know all about it, but I've never seen the movie.
It's actually, I know that it's a huge pop culture reference and everyone knows about it, but it's actually very much worth it to go sit down because it's so like satirical,
right,
and it will make you laugh, and it's super relevant to like everything that's happening today. Plus, watching a guy at the end of the movie ride a bomb. He was a famous rodeo clown, by the way. That guy was like a real cowboy, and he rides that bomb down at the end is like the greatest thing I've ever seen in film. And then there's the doctor the whole time, and he's one of the doctors they brought over in Operation, I believe it's Toothpick? What? We brought over like 27,000 German scientists.
Operation Paperclip.
Paperclip, thank you.
Yes, sir.
And so he's one of them, and he's in this like security council meeting, highest level classified, and he's sitting there, and he keeps, his like unconscious keeps trying to call the president Mein Führer. And he keeps trying to do like the Nazi salute, and his other hand comes over and like stops it. It's fucking great.
That's pretty good.
But if you get the chance, it's in black and white, but it is a Stanley Kubrick film, and it's really well done.
And that's nuclear warfare.
That's about nuclear war. So it's the Cold War, and it's kind of making fun of the relationship between Russia and the U.S. during the Cold War. How they're both panicking, thinking the other has launched missiles, but neither side is doing it first, but they both thought the other side did, so they both like bomb each other.
That's a scary prospect too, and it was very scary back in the 80s.
Well, think about like all of human history. We made things to kill people, like 1 or 2 people at a time.
Yeah.
And then in the 40s, we dropped a bomb on Japan, and we were like, whoa, like this is new. And now all of a sudden you had to start training school children to get under their desks because your entire town could get wiped out by a bomb.
Yeah.
It was so impersonal, and it's so effective that no one even thinks about it anymore, but the threat of nuclear annihilation is constantly hanging over our heads, and we don't even think about it.
Yeah.
But it's like having a nuclear bomb pointed at another country. It's like there's a gun pointed at the back of our head all the time.
Yeah.
There's no escape
people
from that.
That have their finger on it are not trustworthy good people.
Trump! Putin!
Kim
Holy
Jong-il.
shit. Well, I'm not worried about his rockets. He can't even get them out of Korea. He's like, he made it 10 miles off the coast before this one crashed. Like, yeah, keep working on it, pal.
Yeah.
And he's not dumb enough to fucking nuke anybody. That guy's going to get one nuke and be like, it's my deterrent, which is fine.
Though,
it's a dictator playbook. I get it.
If the button got pushed and the missiles are in the air, like, we could retaliate, but it's fucking over.
No, that's why we have so many. So we'll shoot 3,000 of them at Russia if they ever shoot any at us.
Uh-huh.
But only like 500 might get through, which is still 490 more than you need.
Yeah.
But it's like if North Korea has one missile and they launch it at us or at Japan, we'll just shoot the one down and be like, what else you got? You needed more than that. Sorry.
No, it still freaks me out.
No, it's definitely not a very comforting thought to think like there's a nuclear gun
really
pointed at your head all
powerful
the time.
short film at the last A3F. The guy did a really good fucking job, and he just said it here in Phoenix, and it was just like they're watching on the news. The fucking missiles launched. You've got 20 minutes to do what you're gonna do for the rest of your life. That like in 20 minutes, everybody's life's gonna end.
Yeah.
What if just one day, a normal day, you wake up, it's like any other day, you're at work, you're hanging out, and then you find out you've got 20 minutes before the end happens. What do you do?
People, this is why you got to live every day and doing what you want and doing what you believe in, because there is no like, well, I'm going to do this job for a while. In like 10 years, I'll figure it out. Or like soon I'll do what makes me happy. Fuck that, dude.
Yeah.
Do what makes you happy every day. Life ends. You just got to accept it.
When at first, like, so like the wife starts like throwing stuff in a suitcase. She's like, we got to go. We got to get in the car and just go. And the husband's like, where?
Yeah.
There's nowhere to go. And so they just sit there and they look out the window and they're watching the missile coming, looking out their window, and their kids are crying and they're trying to just like hug their kids and comfort them. And that like, having kids and then like thinking about that, like having to explain to my kids that like
I wouldn't tell my kids shit. I'd close the curtains. I'd say, let's sit down. We're going to have some family time. And we wouldn't see it coming, and we would just enjoy our last moments as a family together. And when it comes, it comes. You know? You're not going to feel it, and you're not going to fucking... It's not going to suffer. You're not going to know what happened. It's just going to touch down, and your life's going to be over. That's the best way to go.
I'd be like, kids, you're about to see something that if you don't want to see it, close your eyes. But I'm going to bang your mom right in front of you. Right in front of you.
In the mouth.
Yeah. So do you think we talked a little bit about the zombie stuff. Do you think that you'd be a good survivor in the zombie apocalypse?
If it's the Walking Dead zombies and they just shamble around, yeah, no problem. Here's what I think I'd be really effective in the zombie apocalypse is I have like a full suit of plate armor from Medieval Knight.
Yeah, they're not biting through that shit.
Not biting through that shit.
No.
And I have a sword, and I have clubs, and I have axes. It's like, and I have guns.
Right.
But it's like, you could stick your arm out and be like, yeah, chew on that. And you could have plate armor. You could have riot armor from the police. You could buy like, you could buy a suit of riot control stuff. Like, you could just put that on your arm. You could wrap towels around your arm and duct tape them to your arm with fucking phone books underneath them, and you'll be fine.
Right.
If your only method is to bite me, I'm going to be okay. Now, you get piled on by 10,000 of these things, yeah, they'll crush you underneath them. But even if you knock me off my feet while I'm wearing plate armor, you still...
Well, weird thing about the zombie thing is, first off, yeah, they never, ever use any protection from getting bit. God damn it.
All I'm saying is, like, tape a phone book to your arm, tape some towels around, put a phone book on your chest. Like, there's a lot of armor you can make just from your home.
Even a leather jacket. Like,
yeah.
You look cool and it's bite proof.
Check out your motorcycle helmet, your motorcycle jacket, like work boots. I mean, there's lots of things. Like, you could go to a Play It Again Sports and, like, pick up some catcher shin guards.
One of those neck braces, like, protects your neck so you can't get your neck all chewed on.
Yeah.
But one of the things that really bothers me about all the zombie stuff is, of course, there's that. But, like, I understand from a writer's perspective, like, if you're going to write a zombie story, like, your people got to get bit.
Right. But don't write it like The Walking Dead, where they, like, try really hard to get separated and get bit. And, like,
yeah, exactly.
They literally put themselves in bad situations because they can't think of what else to do.
Yeah.
Like, come on, be smart. I feel like most of us, and again, this is how I feel about a zombie apocalypse, is eventually those zombies are going to deteriorate.
Right. And that's
like,
the thing where we're at with Walking Dead right now.
Oh, I haven't.
Is that the zombies are so deteriorated and they're so, like, there's nothing left of them.
Yeah.
If it bit somebody, his teeth are just going to fall out of his fucking face. He's not going to bite into you.
Like, after a while, the zombies are just going to fall apart and decay.
Right.
And
that's the thing, too.
You can
so
get down off your roof.
They don't really talk about the eating part of it, but they have to eat people. So, like, does that create sustenance in them? Or
why? That's what I've
if there's
always
nobody
wondered.
Left to eat, like,
why do zombies bite people?
Right.
Like, what is driving the zombie to bite people? No one's ever answered that question.
No. I mean, they talk about it and stuff, that it's just, like, the people's base nature. It's, like, the one thing in your brain is to, like, eat, or I guess, or to survive.
It's to fuck. If anything, zombies would be trying to stick their dicks in you.
Oh, dude, zombie rapists.
That would be terrible.
That would be terrifying. Yeah, zombies eventually would, like, fall apart and not be able to hurt you. And then also, like, biting into somebody's skin is not easy. Even a brand new fresh zombie, you gotta have some serious bite strength to penetrate skin.
Yeah.
So I have always thought it would be more scary in a zombie situation is, like, if you shoot them in the face and their blood gets in your mouth or in your eye or in your ear.
And then you're infected.
We know from working at the hospital that it's no fun.
This shit happens all the time.
And how easy fluid will get in your fucking mouth or in your
Jason
ear.
knows all about that.
Yeah.
Do you still have hepatitis or?
Fucking dude, we fucking busted that guy's face into a million pieces. And
justified. It was very justified.
It was justified. He was resisting. And but he turned around and he spit right in my fucking eyeball. And then I had to go home and tell my girlfriend, who I just, like, started dating, we can't have sex without a condom because
I was super disappointed.
I might have gonorrhea herpes. And then literally, like, and you have to get tested for 3 months after that because that's how long it can take to infect you.
Yeah.
So then, like, I was just about to come off that bullshit, and some stupid whore, like, spit in my mouth while I was talking to her, just like, and then it just, like, caught me right in the fucking mouth, and I had to go right back onto isolation again. Yeah. Fucking bullshit.
That's how it's gonna start. It's not gonna start with people biting each other.
No, it's gonna be gonorrhea for herpes. Think about if there was like a zombie STD.
I could see that's how it's starting.
Yeah.
And it would spread quick. It would spread a lot quicker than people getting bit.
Yeah, and it's so hard not to fuck because you're just not thinking clearly when you need to fuck.
Who, like, did you go through sex ed when you were in school?
Yes.
And did they tell you, like, use a condom?
Yes.
Yeah. Like, I had that lecture so many times of, like, make sure you always use a condom. And in my brain, I was like, I'm definitely not gonna, like, have a teenage pregnancy. Like, I'm gonna use a condom
Exactly.
and, like, all these things. Like, my sister, she got pregnant at 17, so I was like, I'm not gonna do that. Da, da, da. You know, like, first time I got naked with a girl, like, the thought of a condom never even entered into my head. And I think there was one in the glove box, and I was just like, whatever.
Yeah.
Because you can't think. You can't fucking think when you're that young and your dick's all full of blood. And
Yeah.
it's just like,
Well,
whatever.
and if you...
I would have had that virus real quick.
I actually listened in sex ed, and I did wrap it up. But the first time I didn't wrap it up for a second, I was like, a whole new world.
I know, yeah. Once you experience the no condom feel, you're
like,
not going
that
back.
feels like nothing. Feels like nothing. I am going to raw dog girls for the rest of my life.
That's why Bill Gates is offering like $1 million to anybody who can invent a better condom. Like a condom that people will be like, okay, I'll actually wear it.
Yeah, those thin condoms that are supposed to be like, they're supposed to
Yeah.
feel like
It's-
better because they're
it's the
thin.
same.
It just
Just the same.
like squeezes my dick into it like a fucking sausage. It's awful.
You know-
Fucking hate those thin condoms.
Chuck Norris wears the rib condoms inside out so that he gets the pleasure. Did I already say that one on the show?
I think we did that on the 80s Action Heroes, actually. All right, I've just got a couple more.
I wanted to throw an honorable mention at a TV show on Hulu called Handmaid's Tale.
That's a real popular show.
Yeah, it started as so there's one book, and they did the book off of, the first season came off the book.
Uh-huh.
The author, the lady, I believe it's Margaret Atwood, said, I've thought about doing more, but she wrote this back in like the 80s. And then was like, I just never really wrote a sequel, but she helped them write season 2. And, it's also very similar to The Road, where if you're not strapped in for like a really serious, like depressive ride, don't start watching it.
Right.
Because you're talking about like, so the end of the world scenario on this is the birth rates. Suddenly women can't get fucking pregnant. And it, over years of time, like they realize these birth rates are declining. And then what happens is, I don't know if I want to call them Trump supporters or just like far right people, just take over. They just take over the U.S. and they start grabbing up women and they throw them into these camps where they make them all dress the same. And they follow this like really like rigid religious indoctrination. And then basically like these guys who have wives fuck the handmaidens who live at their house until they get them pregnant. And then they just take the baby away and they raise it like their own. And these ladies, like, they're just subjected to monthly sessions of rape, depending on, like, when their period comes around and everything. It's fucking terrible. It's horrible to watch. It sucks. And then every time you think something's good is going to happen, you're like, oh, she's going to get away. She's going to resist. Like, it just gets turned on its head and she gets shit on again. And, I don't have the actress's name off the top of my head. She's the secretary for Mad Men.
Mm-hmm.
But she does an amazing job. The acting in this movie is great. In the show is great. The women bring it to life. They make you feel for them. And it's tough. I haven't even finished season 2 yet because every episode leaves me with like a hole in my chest where I'm just like, fuck, man, I personally can't binge it. I can't sit there and binge it.
Yeah.
Because I'm too depressed after each episode. So I wanted to throw that one out there as a fantastic end of the world show.
That sounds good. I thought it was something. I thought it took place in the past. I didn't know. It was
No, because they make them all dressed like that.
Right.
But it's like, the women are actually trying to escape over into Canada, which is just, they're Canadians. They're not fucking doing this to anybody. Canadians like, yeah, just come on over. You can have kids or can't have kids. We don't really care.
I really feel like no matter which one of these scenarios happens and ends our world, Canada's going to be the place to go. All right. So my last one that I wrote down is WALL-E, where the world is being used as a trash dump.
Yeah.
And the humanity has gone into space to escape it. And we're
Fat
all just
humanity.
fat, gluttonous pigs. I know I'm right now on that road.
If you offered me that hover scooter that I could shit in and not have to get I'll take 2. Take 2 right now in case one breaks down.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of like, they were supposed to show us that it was an awful future. But I was kind of like, dude, if I could just eat as much as I wanted and just not even have to walk around anymore.
TV on my chair. And
Everything
feeds
was
me
just
and I shit
like,
into the seat.
Yep, just like 2 button pushes.
Go away, I'm baiting.
Exactly. I would be all over that.
Yeah. It's my last one. Well, I had a couple more, but the one I definitely wanted to mention to get us off the depressive track of Handmaid's Tale was This Is the End.
Oh, I love that movie.
Probably one of my favorite end of the world movies because they're all hanging out at the house party and like just the rapture starts.
Yeah.
And one of the things I really found funny and that I heard them talk about in an interview is when they're hanging on to like the crack and he's like, You're gonna hold me, right? I'm gonna give you all my weight. And he's like, yeah, I got you. And he's like, okay, here comes all of my weight to swing me over. And he just immediately drops him. Because Seth Rogen and like Jonah Hill are hanging out like, no, you could not do that. Like, there's just no way unless you're like Arnold Schwarzenegger. You're not taking someone's full body weight while you hang onto a ledge by your fingertips and swing them up. Like, it's not happening. So I love that they showed that in there. Like, just immediately that dude just fell right down into the hell. Like, Michael Cera got that fucking shaft through him. People like Aziz Ansari like kicked someone else into the pit as they grabbed at his foot. You know, it was just like, yeah, that's fucking perfect.
Yeah.
They all like Hermione shows up, Emma Watson, and they're like, think she's gonna get raped, and she beats them all up and like takes their food.
They're sitting outside her room, and they're like, well, I mean, I don't want to come off all rapey. And they're like, come on, who even brought up rape? And then she comes out of the room, she's like, I heard you guys say you were going to rape me.
He's putting duct tape over that crack on the wall. Yeah.
Yeah, that is an amazing film. And that's another one that we hadn't talked about yet is like the biblical rapture. It's written about in the Bible.
Yeah.
Not that everybody's like, the Bible is on the head every time. They prophesized 9/11 in the Bible. No, they didn't.
No, they didn't. Spoiler alert. God didn't write the Bible.
Spoiler alert. The Bible's pretend.
Yeah. That was a big blow to me as a kid because I was raised Catholic. And then I remember being like, this part in the Bible doesn't make sense, Mom. And she's like, well, you know, men wrote the Bible, not God. And I was like, what?
The red part.
It says the word of God.
Is the part where he spoke. And she's like, well, yeah, but God didn't write it. He just, like, men wrote it because of what God said to them. And I don't trust those guys. Yeah, exactly. I trust God. I don't trust some other guys who wrote it.
Right.
Yeah. And then I was like, oh, so if that's not real, wait a minute. Is there no Santa Claus?
The Christian rapture is an interesting one because it does promise, like, if you've been good, we'll take you up first. Everyone else gets fucked.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, that's a really loving, forgiving God.
I did love the way that they showed it in This Is the End of the World because you would think like, oh yeah, well if that's the case, everybody's going to be like, I believe now, take me up.
Yeah.
But like people are still so shitty they can't get out of their own way.
Yeah.
And that's just real life. And then that movie,
I know that earlier on the podcast I was like, I don't believe in any of that shit. But then if I see like a huge chunk of the population getting beamed up by beams of light, I'm going to be like, me too.
I'll be like, I said it the whole time. God was real. I said it. I just said people wrote the Bible. That's it.
Another sort of religious movie was on the Mayan calendar, 2012.
Oh my
John
God,
Cusack.
Yeah.
Garbage. Fucking hated that movie.
That was funny though. That like people like real like doctors and lawyers, like smart people, thought that the world was going to end.
They ran out of room
because of the Mayan calendar.
No, they made the calendar and they're like, we got it all the way up to the year 2012. Like, I think we can take a break before we make the next one. Like, we put a 2,000-year calendar together.
Yeah.
Like, they just ran out of room. And then if you looked at it with the leap years and everything, it's like, that would have happened like 2007.
Our calendar is based on Jesus. A guy that might not have even existed.
Not true. Our calendar that we have today is because of Julius Caesar. The Romans used a 10-month calendar, and then they actually only had 330 days in their calendar, but they knew that it took 365 to get around. The Greeks figured that out. So then every couple of years they had to add an extra month, because they only had like 345 days in their calendar. So they'd add an extra month every year, every like 4 years, and be like, this year's longer. Well, then it started to get fucked up. So it was like, wait, it's December, but it's really warm out. And Julius Caesar, when he became dictator, added in 2 months. He had July for him, and then August for Augustus came later from his nephew. He fixed the calendar. He brought a bunch of his like smartest Romans in, and he made a 365-day calendar. And then every 4 years, we just need the one leap day. But it was made before Jesus and before all that. Now, people call it the Gregorian calendar or whatever because of the church. And it's like, yeah, the church has a lot of influence over it, but it was created by Julius Caesar before Jesus.
Can you do me a really big favor and never, just talk back to me on my own podcast like you just did and, prove me wrong and then say all this smart stuff and make me sound dumb?
Sorry, only when you're wrong will I do that.
I hate you.
I know. I do find it interesting that a ton of cultures, though, have end of the world scenarios. So you have the Christian rapture, you have the Mayans in the 2012, the Aztecs believed in an end of the world scenario where the giant snake, I'm going to butcher the name, Quetzalcoatl. Don't fucking quote me on that. He's going to crush the world. They're going to block out the sun. The sun is going to go out if they stop making human sacrifices. And then we're all going to fucking
that's the Matrix, bro.
The cool thing was in the Aztec religion was the world had already ended 3 or 4 times. So the apocalypse wasn't a big deal to them. It was just well, if it ends again, it ends again. We restart, start over. And I was like, that's sort of the way to look at it. It's just we can't really control it. The Persians had one where a giant comet was going to hit the earth. The Zoroastrian religion.
Maybe that happened and killed the dinosaurs.
Which is exact. But then
Maybe
I thought
it's going to happen again, like in Armageddon, movie that we haven't mentioned yet.
It's on my bad side. It's right here, Underwater World. Armageddon.
Oh, you're going to get
this is a bad one.
Yeah.
Because of Ben Affleck. And they said this comet's going to hit the earth and we're going to be swimming in lakes of lava. And I was like, yeah, that's probably pretty accurate. But my favorite one is the Norse end of the world because it's a battle called Ragnarok.
Right.
And it's and
a
lot
Hulk
of other...
is there.
No.
Yes.
Slap you, Jason.
I saw it.
What I like, though, about it is a lot of the other end of the world religions, even Christianity is the true believers get beamed up. Everyone else gets fucked in the ass.
Right.
But in the Norse religion, it's if you die in battle, you just get to fight later at Ragnarok, and we probably lose this one.
Right.
Odin gets eaten, Thor gets killed, the world gets split in 2, shit is going down. There's no happy ending for Ragnarok, which I really appreciated.
Well, in the Norse one, too, it's great because it's not just the good people go to heaven. All the warriors get to go to heaven and they just get to fuck and drink.
All they do in their afterlife is fuck, drink, and fight so that they can get ready for the Ragnarok. Train for Ragnarok, feast in the hall at night, and fuck your women. And then it's all these badass guys who in life, they were mortal enemies and they killed each other. And then in the afterlife, they're like, sweet, what's up, dude? We're on the same side now. And then all the cowards go and they fight for the other side. If you're a coward and you died, you get reincarnated to fight for hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my kind of end of the world scenario.
It is a cool one. It's way better than Christians. We all go to heaven and fucking hold hands and sing Kumbaya. Fuck that. All right? I just want to go be reunited with my dogs.
Yeah. In Ragnarok.
But yeah, Armageddon's on the bad list. I Am Legend I put in the meh.
Meh. That kind of goes along with the zombie apocalypse, but it was vampires.
Cure for Cancer. I put it in the meh because they fucked up the ending. They reshot the ending to change it. And if they had kept the original ending, I think it'd be much better.
When you're dealing with end of the world scenarios, it's the same thing with 2012. At the end, they get on a big metal Noah's Ark and fucking fly away. And
but the title of the movie is I Am Legend, which was led us to believe if the movie is done correctly, he is the legend to the vampires. They are scared of him.
Yes,
he is the one coming while they are sleeping and snatching them out of their beds. He thought the whole movie, I'm scared of them because they're these creatures, but the whole time they're terrified of him.
Right. And
then in the end, they don't show that. And in the original ending, they show that. And I was like, man, that makes it way better. So they changed the whole concept of the movie by changing the ending for their beta audience or whatever it was. And I just thought, fuck that.
No end of the world movie should end with a happy ending.
Yeah, exactly.
Except for This Is the End. Because when the Backstreet
Boys show up, that is the best ending you can ask for.
Yeah. That was realistic and it was amazing. Yeah. So that was okay. And I could see if there was a heaven, it would be more like Ragnarok, but the Backstreet Boys would probably be there and play.
We do need entertainment.
Yeah.
Ragnarok's here. All right.
You got any more on your list there, Brian?
12 Monkeys.
12 Monkeys. What happened in 12 Monkeys? What was the end of the world scenario on that?
12 Monkeys is an end of the world scenario. I think in 2030 something, a virus takes out most of mankind. So Bruce Willis comes back. He uses time travel to come back to early 2000s, I think, to look for what caused the virus. And he's going to try to stop the end of the world. So it's sort of a time travel sci-fi, but he's also trying to stop the end of the world. But it's also like a mind fuck movie, and it's got Brad Pitt.
Yeah,
Brad Pitt and
great
Bruce
parts
Willis.
in that, yeah. So
Every time I watch that movie, I find something I didn't see the first time, so I really like that one. But it is a little bit more time travel, but he's trying to stop the end of the world.
right.
So, and again, that's what would really scare me is a virus, because a virus is sort of like a nuclear, like a bomb.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you have a lot of bullets. It doesn't matter if you have a lot of supplies. If someone breathes on you, you're fucked.
And I think that that's the most realistic scenario out of all of them, is that some nasty virus like the Black Plague is going to come out and we just don't have a cure to it.
Well, I think
And
we're
it's
going to
say,
have something that's
fuck
like,
you to all of our
we're going to make something that's
and-
really nasty, like really resistant to antibiotics. Like we've been basically, because doctors prescribe antibiotics for every little thing, people are getting really resistant to them.
Mm-hmm.
So now they're trying to pull back on that because viruses and diseases are getting like really good at getting around our medicine.
Right.
And that's scary as shit.
All right, Brian. So I think we've gone through the most important of end world scenarios. We've talked about some good movies. We've talked about some bad movies.
There's lots of bad ones out there.
I think after all this conversation, what I've come away with is that you're going to fare far better in the apocalypse than I am.
I'm going to come get you and I'm going to bring you along because there's a lot of meat on your bones and I might have to eat you.
I think that would be a good thing to bring me along for. Plus, you can, if I'm not around, you can help repopulate the world with my wife and yours.
Women are gross. That's the dirty hole. No.
All right, Brian, this brings us to the part in our show where we talk about the things that are good and the things that are not so good in a segment I like to call Flush It or Flaunt It.
Flush it or flaunt it.
27 heartbeats.
You flush it, I flaunt it.
All right, you want to go first?
Yeah, I'm going to start with my Flaunt It this week, which is a short series on Netflix, a little couple short stories on there called Love, Death, and Robots. Well, I haven't finished it yet, but I watched the first couple, and I'd say that they're definitely worth it. Good mix of awesome animation, some animation I've never seen anywhere else. Good storytelling, short. They're like 15, 18 minutes. One of them was like 11 minutes, so really nice, easy to watch. And just really cool stories. I like how quickly, when you're making a short story or a short film, how quickly you have to reel your audience in to make them care. So they always get right to the point. I always appreciate that. Love, Death, and Robots, good mix of like action and comedy. And then my Flush It this week is another Netflix original, which I had high hopes for. Really cool premise called Triple Frontier. Had quite the cast. It's like Charlie Hunnam, guy from Star Wars, Poe Dameron, Ben Affleck, the guy from Narcos. I mean, everyone on there I recognized.
Yeah.
And then cool premise of 5 former special operators from Delta Force or Rangers. They're going to go and steal a bunch of millions of dollars from a cartel. But turns out all 5 guys of those were retarded. They came up with a terrible plan, and then they were going to fly over the Andes Mountains in a helicopter, dragging a net underneath the helicopter with all their money in it. So obviously that doesn't go well. And then these guys have been doing this kind of work for 20 plus years. And then all of a sudden they start having guilt over it. Like, I shot those people. Like, yeah, you mean those people with rifles that were shooting at you? That's sort of like your job. It's like what you've been doing your whole life. And now all of a sudden in the biggest like cash heist in history, you start getting sentimental about it or whatever. And that just threw me for a loop. I didn't like it.
Yeah, I had high hopes for that movie. I hadn't watched it yet, but I was going to. Like, I wouldn't want to ever go into a military film with you because you're just going to destroy it and pick it apart.
That's not true. Let's go watch Black Hawk Down.
Well, that's a true story.
Yeah, well, they did it right. People take a lot of true stories and fuck them up.
Yeah.
You know, there's movies that do it right. We Were Soldiers, Black Hawk Down, things like that. What I hate, and I watched this with a veteran friend of mine, and we both were saying that in the middle of a mission, in the middle of a tour, in the middle of a campaign, you don't feel those things. You're surviving. So your brain doesn't let you feel like, holy shit, I just killed a dozen people. Your brain is like, now you need to move on and keep going. It's not until later when you're in a safe spot and you're home and you're comfortable and you have the security of being home around you that you start to think about all the things you did. That doesn't happen in the middle of the night while you're still out there among the enemy. When you're still out there among the enemy, you think about surviving. So I hate it. I fucking hate it when they try to throw that shit in there.
All right, so my flush and flaunt it this week. My flaunt it is going to be a movie. It's been out for a while, but I don't think a lot of people know about it. It's called Sorry to Bother You, and it has Teresa Thompson in it, the chick that was in Thor Ragnarok.
Hey-o.
Yeah, she's super awesome, and it's got Armie Hammer in it. Who I normally don't like, but he's really funny in his role. It's got a couple of cool little cameo, small parts in it.
Yeah.
But it's a really unique movie. It's about this dude who decides that he needs to like improve his life and make it better and start paying his bills and stuff. So he gets a job at a telemarketing company, and then weird stuff starts to happen from there. And it's got Steven Yeun from The Walking Dead, who played Glenn before he got his head smashed in.
Right.
And he's like basically, I don't want to give anything away because it gets really fucking weird and crazy. But the whole goal of working at this place is to like become the best of the best, and then you get to go upstairs where the elite call or ID people or the telemarketers work. And then from there, the story just goes off the fucking rails. So if you're into weird shit and you're into like just if you want to see something unique, Sorry to Bother You is an excellent movie. My flush it this week is not going to be a popular one because a lot of people are saying this movie's awesome, but I watched Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Fuck you.
You know how big of a Spider-Man fan I am, dude. I love it.
Fuck you.
And the animation was awesome, but I just didn't really care for the story. I didn't think that it had enough action in it. And it's the Spider-Man. I would way rather have seen a whole story about the Noir Spider-Man voiced by Nicolas Cage.
No.
He got no play in it.
Yeah, because it's voiced by Nicolas Cage.
I would have liked to
You're
see
way
just
behind.
a whole movie about Spider-Ham because he seemed like he was awesome and had it going on. And
Jason, from now on, you're going to have to run your flush it or flaunt it choices by me before the podcast because that's a terrible choice to flush it. Please don't listen to him and go see Into the Spider-Verse. It's awesome. Get it on
it
DVD
wasn't
now.
that good.
Jason has no fucking clue what he's talking
It was
about.
boring. The character art Kingpin didn't even look like he was made out of human.
Yeah, that's true.
And Dr. Octopussy, her
Pussy.
her instead of having metal octopus arms, she had these weird undulating puss arms.
You mean like an octopus?
Yeah.
Oh, weird.
I didn't like it. I just didn't like it. Yeah, and I didn't like having fat Spider-Man. Like,
It's infinite universe theory. Go fuck yourself. If there's a Spider-Man pig, there's a fat Spider-Man out there. Okay.
yeah, I didn't like it. All right. Before me and Brian take it to blows, let's go to our next segment. Fuck, marry, kill, fight!
Tell me who you'd fuck, marry, and kill. This game is the definition of thrill. You have to pick, you have to choose. If you don't, you will lose. Tell me who you'd fuck, marry, and kill. Who you'd fuck, marry, and kill.
Fight!
All right, today on Fuck, Marry, Kill, Fight, we're going to go with the End of the World edition.
I'm going to get a bunch of bad choices here. I can feel it.
Seth Rogen,
Oh, okay. Well,
Jonah
that's-
Hill,
All right.
Danny McBride,
Heyo.
and James Franco.
God damn it. Okay, just to be clear, I love all four of these guys. Danny McBride has that type of humor where he rubs people the wrong way, like he makes people uncomfortable.
Oh,
And
weird.
It's
It
my
reminds me of
favorite.
somebody.
It's my favorite type of humor. So I'm gonna marry Danny McBride because we are gonna hang out and fuck with people for the rest of our lives.
Miserable fucking place to be for
Yeah.
the end of the world is with you and Danny McBride.
Yeah,
in
we
the
would
same
be
room
just
together.
total assholes together, and I love it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna kill Jonah Hill, I guess. Just like not because I don't like honestly, just out of what's left,
Right.
you know.
Right.
I'm gonna fuck James Franco
Oh.
because that's obvious.
The way you said that, there was a little bit of a sparkle in your eye. Like,
Fuck
I-
James
I
Franco.
feel like this isn't the first time you thought about
Watch
this
out,
scenario.
James. Because out of those four choices, that's really the only one I can go with there.
Right.
Other than that, it's just a fat, hairy man. So James Franco's really the only one on that choice that's not a fat, hairy, sweaty dude.
That's true.
He's still a dude, but he's in shape. Hopefully it's not the James Franco from Pineapple Express.
Yeah,
So
what if it's...
then it's also very smelly, but at least he's not fat and hairy. Then I'm going to...
That only leaves one. You're fighting Seth Rogen.
Yeah. So I fucked James Franco. I killed Jonah Hill. I married Danny McBride. I'm just going to fight Seth Rogen. I guess I could fight Danny McBride, marry Seth Rogen. Either way, I feel like I win either way.
Yeah, you're going to win either way.
I lose out on who I fuck. I'm losing that.
Right.
But if you get to hang out with one of these dudes for the rest of your life, it's
I think
pretty
Seth
sweet.
Rogen's laugh would get on my nerves if I married him.
It's like also I wouldn't mind punching him in the face for that movie he did called Road Trip or Mama's Boy or whatever he's with Barbara Streisand. And I watched the first 30 minutes of it, and so he owes me 30 minutes of my life back.
Yeah.
So I might just punch him just for that.
I did think the Spider-Man poster with Seth Rogen was funny in the Spider-Verse. There was a poster that they kept showing in the subway.
I just think when him and James Franco were doing the naked Beyonce music video, that shit cracked me up.
Yeah.
Also the interview.
All of the interview cracked me up.
Yeah.
That was so funny.
Huge Falcor looking dog.
All right, man. We did it. Congratulations. We've got through another episode.
Thanks to our listeners for sitting through that.
I always thank our listeners. I can't believe that they make it all the way to the end of our episodes.
Honestly, yeah.
But yeah, we've got some exciting news that I don't want to talk about just yet because I want to make sure it's set in stone.
We're hosting a podcast at Comic-Con.
God damn it, Brian.
We're going to host a live podcast at Comic-Con. It's going to be fucking sweet.
We are going to do that. It's actually not...
Sorry,
Comic-Con.
Phoenix Comic Fest, Fan Fusion, whatever.
Brian is
Comic-Con
the worst hype man ever. First, he blows his load all over, and then he doesn't even blow it in the right spot.
Just edit me out.
No, we are going to be hosting a live podcast from this year's Phoenix Fan Fusion. And I'm not going to tell you guys the topic just yet, but it's going to be amazing. So look forward to that. Also, check us out on our website. We're doing cool things over there. And that'll give you links to all of our media, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
We're going to have swag to sell soon.
We're going to have swag. We're developing swag
But don't worry,
we speak.
we'll never call it swag again after today.
Nope, that was
it. That was the one-time thing.
I hate Brian for even calling it that the one time.
I hate myself a little bit for saying it.
We're going to have merch.
I'm just going to go ahead and...
Oh, there you go. Take that.
Yeah.
That was my dick hitting him in the lips. In case you didn't know. In case you're like, what did that sound like? All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. Come back next time when we're going to talk some more poop up in your buttholes. That's Talking Poop for this week. I'm Jason Brownlee, signing out. And this is...
See you later.